Hello, welcome back to another movie talk. Here to talk about It Chapter 2. I just saw that last night. The first part of this video will be spoiler free. I'll let you know when I definitely get into spoilers. So let's just start off by saying what are the negatives of the movie. The length. The length is a big one. For me, I don't think a horror movie would be good if it's longer than 2 hours. I could be wrong, but even movies like Midsummer, a movie that I kind of like, it felt like it was dragging on and on and on. So even though I really like the shots of the movie and it's gorgeous and it's intense, still I'm kind of antsy. I just wanted to get it over with. So same thing here. This movie's almost 3 hours long, and even when it got to the finale and so much is happening, I just wanted it to be over with. And it's not like I was bored by a lot. It's not like I was bored by a lot of it. It's just like I just wanted to get to the final point. Probably it's because I read the book, I watched the miniseries, so I know exactly what's gonna happen. But yeah, I felt like it should have been cut by at least 30 minutes, probably even more. Should have been closer to the 2 hour length. And that's the thing though, this is part 2 of it. And I know that the book is humongous, but even the miniseries, I believe it's about 3 hours long. So when you already have the first part coming out 2 years ago, and now you have the second part, and the second part's much longer, it feels weird. And to be honest, I don't know exactly what to cut. Probably some of the flashbacks or shorten the flashbacks by a bit. And maybe some of the characters that don't really mean anything in the end. And I'll talk about that in the spoiler section of this. So yeah, the negative is that the length is too long. And this movie is not as scary as the first one. This movie... The main reason why is because they rely so much on CGI. If they did use practical effects, I did not notice, because to me, they look CGI. It looks too shiny and everything. And that's the problem with CGI, is that either the animation just looks like it looks too fluid. It doesn't look as smooth. It doesn't look as rough, or the lighting is too shiny. So that's why the CGI is very, very noticeable. Or the skin textures aren't good or something like that. Which is, well, that's a thing though. Usually creatures, especially one that resemble humans, don't really look good in CGI so far that I've seen in a lot of movies. Golem looks amazing, but that's the thing. I don't think I don't think Weta worked on this movie, which if it did, then wow, it's kind of lacking. But yeah, but the thing is, the designs look cool. But the execution, I felt like if they had a bit more time, the renders would be better. So, but it seems like they didn't have enough time, so they just pass it off like this. And the thing is, with CGI, you need good lighting as well. If the lighting sucks on the CGI models, then they look even worse. And the funny thing is that a lot of this takes place in the dark. A lot of these effects, so the darkness should have hid a lot of the the fakeness of the CGI, but for some reason it really doesn't. It looks like the CGI models they look shiny. So instead of being covered in darkness, they look it's like they came in plain daylight or something like that. So that's also a bad thing. And yeah, so to me, those two are the bad things. The positives: the casting is spot on. I mean, wow, I can't believe it. Yeah, when I first heard about the casting for this, some of the choices, I was like, James McAvoy, Jessica Chastain. I kind of prefer Amy Adams because the little girl, Sophia Lillis, did play a young version of Amy Adams in a different movie, and I thought she would look like Amy Adams when she's grown up, but it turns out Jessica Chastain, even though I really like Jessica Chastain. But yeah, some of the casting felt a bit off, except for Bill Hader. I knew that Bill Hader would be perfect as Richie, but man, seeing this movie, everyone, oh my god, all the adult versions are casted so well. They are spot on. And yes, Bill Hader is the best one. I have problems with this movie, but I recommend this movie for Bill Hader alone. It would be a sin if this movie did not make enough money at the box office, because Bill Hader is fucking worth it. He is amazing as adult Richie. He's the most human character out of the entire group. The only one that keeps it entertaining and funny, and his reactions to everything, it feels so real. And it's Bill Hader. I think there's no one in the planet who hates him. He's really, really good. He's really funny, and he's very relatable. So him as adult Richie is just spot on. I think the weakest one might be, I can't pronounce his name, but the last name's Mustafa. It's the Old Spice man. And I'm not saying he's bad. I'm just saying that his character seems like he doesn't really have much of a personality. And that's a shame too, because even in the It Chapter 1, the young Mike, it seems like he doesn't have much of a personality as well. And that's the problem with that is he was supposed to be the historian in It Chapter 1, but for some reason they gave that to Ben. Ben was the researcher. So I was like, I don't know why they did that, when it turns out grown-up Mike is still a historian anyway. He lives in the library, so I don't know why they did that. But they all did a good job. Even the adult Henry Bowers. Oh my God, he was fantastic in this. So yeah, the adults did a great job. This movie, oh, I forgot, I did say that this movie is not scary, right? Even though this movie is not as scary as It Chapter 1, this movie is a lot of fun. It's funny. It's really, really funny. The jokes are great. It's mostly because it comes from Richie. Almost all of them landed. It's just fantastic. He even said your mama jokes, and it still made me laugh. A joke that is really outdated, but it just works. It makes everything work. And Richie's interactions with Eddie, adult Eddie, it's perfect. I didn't think adult Eddie would swear that much, but man, he has a sailor mouth. He just swears all the time. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, Richie, fuck you. And he had some of the best comebacks too, especially when they meet up with Henry Bowers. But yeah, it's very funny. Even the scares are funny. Yes, I laughed, and I'm not sure if that was intentional or not, but it is a lot of fun, because even if the jump scares and creature effects look very off, they look fake, it's like a fun thrill ride through a haunted mansion or something like that. It kind of reminds me of Stephen Sommers' The Mummy, where yes, there is a bit of horror in it, but it's mostly like an action adventure, like Indiana Jones style kind of thing. While here it is like a thrill ride going through the haunted mansion. It's just nonstop, just jump scare, jump scare, jump scare, jump scare, jump scare, and it works. It really does. Again, it's not scary, but it does have a couple chilling scenes, and it is fun. You laugh as the movie keeps going. So if that was intentional, fine. If not, then they fucked it up, because it's not a good horror movie. If anything, this is a comedy drama, a dramedy with a couple of horror elements. Hell, it would be, if Edgar Wright directed this and wrote this, then wow. But again, as a movie, it doesn't not all of it works, but it is still entertaining to me. But it is very bloated. Okay, so that's the spoiler-free section. Now getting into the spoilers. All right. There's a couple characters that were not really used well. Because in the It miniseries and also in the It book, Bill's wife is very important in the book. She doesn't do anything here. She just makes a one appearance, and that's it. She is the actress in Bill's movie that he wrote for, and the director hates his ending, and he's having a trouble finding a new ending because all his endings are dour, and he doesn't want to make a happy ending because he believes that's not realistic, and even the wife agrees that they should have a happy ending. Um, so, but you only see her for that scene, and that's it. And it's a shame because I thought that she would try to find him in Derry, and then she gets captured, and then she becomes catatonic. And to snap her out of it, Bill takes her on the silver bike. I think it's just called Silver. And oh wait, he did say "Hi ho, silver away," right? So it has to be Silver. I believe it's Silver. So he rides with her on the bike, and they ride down the street or hill, and then they almost got hit by cars. Again, I'm not sure if that's the book version or the miniseries or both, but she snaps out of it, and then they kiss. So that does not happen because Bill's wife is not involved at all. She's only in it for that one scene early on in the movie. And the guy who was either Beverly's boyfriend or husband, I keep forgetting which one. But in this movie, it is he is the husband because of the wedding ring and all that stuff. And he tracks Beverly down, and he will die because he gets a heart attack from seeing the deadlights or something like that. Yeah, that does not happen. Once Beverly leaves the house, that's it with him too. And yeah, that's the thing. They don't really show much about other characters. They mostly focus on the group, and they do change a bit with Mike because Mike gets attacked by Henry Bowers, and he has to remain in the hospital in the book, and I believe in the miniseries. Again, I haven't seen the miniseries in a while. I just bought this recently too, and I forgot to watch it. Watch it. Ha! Funny. So, but in here, Mike is there the entire time with the group. He is there at the final fight against Pennywise. So that's a good change because I didn't like that Mike has been out of the final fight. And Stanley does die like usual. He slit his wrist in the bathtub. And but I feel like it's done better in this movie than in the miniseries, because in the miniseries it makes it very haunting, but also kind of funny because of Stanley's wife doing that no face and the scream and all that stuff. Did she say no, or is it something like that? It's in slow motion and stuff. And it just ends up being funny, and he wrote something on the bathtub. But here it's just sad, and you know why he did it, and it worked better in here, in my opinion. Eddie does die too, but he died a bit differently here because in the book his arm gets ripped off and he dies from severe blood loss. Here he also dies from severe blood loss, but he gets impaled by Pennywise tentacle crab leg things. It's a claw. The thing is that the final fight takes place in the darkness, but with strobing lights. So I wasn't exactly sure if that was a pincer or a claw or a sharp nail or a tentacle thing. I wasn't exactly sure of that because Pennywise also kept changing forms as well. That's the thing too. That strobe light effect really annoyed the shit out of me. I don't have what's that word? I think you know what I'm talking about. Man, I forgot. Well, you get seizures from it. Yeah, I don't have that, but it does get annoying on me, like flashing lights like that, because if it happens for a long period of time, then it just gets annoying. If it happens for up to a couple minutes, fine. But if it's for like the final standoff, hell no, that took way too goddamn long. And what else? Other than that, I don't think there's really much of a change. In this one, Pennywise didn't lay any eggs, so there's that. And Yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh yeah, and Pennywise does take the form of a giant spider, but it's kind of similar to how the Scorpion King was from The Mummy Returns. So yes, it's Pennywise face and body on top of a spider body, but the spider body is actually his arms and legs. So it's kind of a very goofy but kind of cool design. I kind of wish that they just did better CGI on him, because it honestly looks on par with the Scorpion King. But I am glad that Pennywise took that form instead of just a regular spider that doesn't talk, because yeah, I never liked that spider thing, especially in the miniseries. So yeah, I'm glad that he talks in this one. It's just him on top of the spider. And the final confrontation where he just sets up illusions everywhere, and people are going through like a maze and stuff like that. And there's a couple references to other movies, like when Beverly is in the bathroom where in the first movie she gets hit by like the trash water and stuff like that from the terrible girls, but this time it's filled with blood, and people are banging on the door too, and Pennywise keeps changing his face and stuff, but Henry Bowers, I think he said, "Here's Johnny!" So there's a Shining reference to it too, to that, and I really love that. And to be honest, I felt like Beverly's illusion during the final fight is much more interesting than Ben's. Ben, I mean, it is a terrifying situation for Ben, because he is being he is sinking into the ground, and the clubhouse is falling apart, and is trying to engulf him into the dirt and stuff like that. And Pennywise keeps mocking him, calling him a fat boy, even though he's not fat, and he keeps mocking him by saying he'll always be alone. So yes, it's a terrifying situation, but to be honest, compared to everything else that the other members of the loser club goes through, his is honestly not that terrifying. But again, I understand that it is a terrifying situation, but to us, the audience, it doesn't look appealing. It doesn't look that scary. And also, he seems fine for the most part, because Ben is muscular. I mean, we saw his abs earlier on, so I was like, I'm pretty sure he could just dig himself out of it, but whatever. So he calls for Beverly, and Beverly picks him up and stuff like that. So yeah, Jessica Chastain's incredibly strong. I mean, Ben is like almost twice her size, and she's able to pull him up from the dirt. Again, it's illusions, hallucinations, so you're not exactly sure if she's actually pulling him out of real dirt, or that's just on their mind. She's just pulling him off from somewhere. I don't know. And then Eddie and Richie, they're the best duo in this whole movie. When they get separated from the group, and then they have the three doors, the scary, not scary at all, and I forgot what the third option was, but oh, is it very scary, scary, and not scary at all? I think that's what it was. So they have the three doors that were from It Chapter 1, and Richie's like, oh my god, I know this one. He's just fucking with us. So I'm trying to remember. I think he picks the one that says very scary. So he picks that one, and when he opens it, it shows the bottom half of the girl that was chopped up in the It Chapter 1, because in It Chapter 1 you see the top half of the girl and she's missing her legs, but in this one the legs are there, and not the top half of the girl, and Richie's still terrified of that. He's like, oh, he closes the door. I was like, it's just legs. It's not like, what can legs do to you? It's just legs. He should have went through that. But he closes the door, and he's like, fuck, he's still fucking with us. So he opens the not scary one, and then when he opens it, oh my god. To be honest, I think this is a Ghostbusters reference. I could be wrong about that, but I feel like it's a Ghostbusters reference. Earlier on, Richie said, Mike said that we have to picture Pennywise or it in its true form or something like that. We have to imagine it, and then it'll take that form. And Richie said that, oh god, I hope that it becomes a Pomeranian. It becomes a puppy. And so that was a funny line. But then when he and Eddie got separated from the others, and then he opened the door, they looked down, they're like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. It's a Pomeranian puppy. and he's like, what should we do? And Richie's like, oh no, I talked about this. No, it's a fucking trap. And but the thing is that they kept talking about the puppy. They look behind them, the Pennywise tentacle thing goes away, and then they still look at the puppy and talk about that. Oh, you're such a good boy. You're not that bad. You might be bad. Oh, I'm not sure. Then the puppy becomes like a gigantic zombie puppy. And Richie's like, why did we talk to it? Oh man, I love that scene. Richie was great. Oh, Bill Hader, I love you. Oh, man. So now I'm just talking about the final confrontation a lot. Let me backtrack a bit. So I did say that there should have been characters that the movie shouldn't focus on. It's actually the little kids. Pennywise kills 2 children. And again, it's not like I'm against seeing dead children in movies. I'm not against that. Actually, to be honest, I think movies have balls for killing off kids on screen. Which is why I liked about It Chapter 1, because Georgie got his arm chopped off and then he gets dragged into the sewers. So I was happy. I was fine with that. Actually, at least they showed it compared to the It miniseries. So I'm not against killing children. The thing is that they spend so much time with these 2 little kids. They end up being dead anyway. So it doesn't feel like they're really important. I mean, the kills are cool. They really are. And the scenes are intense. But if you cut them out, you really wouldn't lose anything. Maybe the one with the boy, because James McAvoy did interact with him. Well, Bill and Richie did interact with him, but at the same time, I felt like if you just not include that kid, then this movie probably would have been better, because they dedicated a lot of time with these 2 kids, and especially the girl with the birthmark on her face. And she's adorable. Both kids are adorable, even though the boy kind of reminds me of the boy from Jurassic World, which is weird because I know the boy in Jurassic World is all grown up now, and we saw him in Avengers Endgame. So, yeah, again, the kills are cool, but I felt like you really don't need that much. No one interacted with the little girl. No one from the Losers Club. So the only reason why the little girl was there is because she interacted with the gay man in the beginning, with the gay couple in the beginning of the movie. Oh, I gotta say this. I haven't read the book in a long time. So when I saw the beginning of this, I wasn't sure if that was part of the book, because that just threw me off. I was like, was this part of the book? Because I didn't remember from the miniseries, and for some reason, I just didn't remember that part of the book. Maybe it's a very small part in the book. I don't know. But a gay couple got attacked by bullies, and the bullies threw one of the men over the bridge, and he fell into the river, and then he gets caught by Pennywise and gets eaten. So for me, because I totally forgot that was in the book, I kind of hated that scene because I wanted Pennywise to kill the bullies. I think that's what the entire audience wants, because the gay couple, they were very nice. They were at the carnival, and one of the men won something, won a toy, and he gave that to the little girl next to him. So they were nice, and they had a Meg Ryan joke too, which honestly made me laugh. Outdated, yes, but it made me laugh. Do people even know who Meg Ryan is anymore? Oh, they did show You've Got Mail poster later on in the movie. When that death happened, I was like, oh my god, I kind of hate this. Again, I do give the movies balls for doing that, but I feel like a lot of people would be angry by the beginning scene alone. But I'm not sure if they should be angry because it is in the book. So that's the thing. So I'm just saying that when I first saw the scene and I totally forgot it was in the book, I kind of hated the scene. But since it's in the book, I'm willing to excuse it. But at the same time, it's because, we're traditionalists. Usually bad people doing bad things to others, they end up getting killed off first. That's usually the cliche, but it's not the cliche this time. It's the good people who gets fucked over. So again, I'll give credit for that one. Okay, so the ritual of Chud, I feel like they keep going back and forth on that. Okay, so there's no giant turtle in this, which I understand is understandable. I mean, that's a whole lot of bullshit that they have to explain. But at least they make a reference to it. They show like a little turtle statue thing on a teacher's desk when Ben goes to the high school. But yeah, there's no giant god turtle in this. But they do use the ritual of Chud, which is the Native American ritual. And they try to put the deadlights inside of this basket, I believe. So it did not work, which I'm impressed by. I was like, holy shit, it wasn't easy. It just didn't work, and Pennywise just fucks around with them even more. So when they put the totems inside and burned them, and the deadlights come in, and Mike was trying to close it, but it turns out a giant red balloon was there, just preventing it being closed and stuff like that, so Pennywise could fuck with them a bit more. I gotta say, that was impressive. But again, here's the problem with the movie because of that. This movie deals with so much of the adults reverting back to their child selves and reliving memories of the past, which I felt like they should have changed a bit. If they cut out all the fetching stuff, man, this movie would have been a whole lot shorter, because the movie dedicates so much of itself to the fetching thing for them to relive their memories. And I think that's what I also kind of hated about the book as well, because we did so much with the kids when they were kids. And then now we have to deal with the adults trying to remember what they were like as kids, even though we already talked about the kids being kids. You see? And that's also the problem with this too, is because we already saw It Chapter 1, which focuses only on the kids, and now we're on It Chapter 2, where the adults are trying to focus on being kids, trying to remember as kids. So it feels like a de-evolution. It feels like they're not really growing. It's like just reverting back. And I think that's what would piss a lot of people off, because you want these characters to learn, you want these characters to grow. But in order for them to do that, they have to revert back to their original selves. So if anyone played any video game, you know what it's like to gain the ultimate weapon and gain the best armor and reach level 100, and just for you to go back to level 1 again? That gets aggravating. And that's the thing with every single sequel in that video game franchise. Like in God of War, Kratos has to lose his powers. He can't just be immortal and be super powerful. He has to revert back to level 1. So yeah, just like that, they have to revert back in order to grow again. If you guys like that, fine. But for me, it got kind of annoying. But again, I wasn't really bored by that. It just felt, I felt like the movie should just reach that point. So they have to find their tokens, and yeah, there's a scene with Richie in a flashback where I kind of felt like it should have been shortened. And here's the thing, I'm okay with Richie being gay. The thing is that the execution didn't work well. So when they showed the flashback with Richie and he's in the arcade with Henry Bauer's cousin, which I'm shocked that he didn't know that was Henry Bauer's cousin. So he kind of likes him and he wants to play more games with him. And I was like, oh, that's kind of sweet. But after that flashback ends, and By the way, I am so glad that Paul Bunyan statue actually does something in this movie. I want to see that in the miniseries. Never happened. Paul Bunyan attack. I am so happy about that. That was super creepy, and I love it. Okay. And then when the Richie flashback ends, and you see adult Richie over there at the park, Pennywise kept taunting Richie by saying he knows his dirty little secret. All American Rejects is playing in my head right now. My dirty little secret. So yeah, Pennywise keeps taunting him about that. And the thing is, I was like, who cares? Who really cares? It's 2016. I know it's 2019 now, but in the movie it takes place 2016. It's the year 2016. People are okay with being gay. I know. We've had the beginning where gay people were bullied and attacked and all that stuff. But still, do people even care? He's gay, fine. Which is why I felt like if we didn't have that flashback with Richie at the arcade, start off with him just going to the bench, being upset, and we're wondering why he's upset. And then Paul Bunyan attacks. And then when that flashback ends, we cut to adult Richie. And then Pennywise keeps taunting him about the dirty little secret. I felt like that would be more effective. Like, we're trying to figure out, what is Richie's dirty little secret? What's going on? We really want to know more about it. And then give hints about it later on during the movie. I felt like that would be better. Instead, when you already told us he's gay or having gay thoughts, Richie might be bisexual, I'm not sure. And to be honest, I don't care. If he wants to be bisexual, fine. If he wants to be gay, fine. I'm okay with him because it's Richie. He could do whatever he wants. But again, I felt like if he keeps talking about dirty little secrets, I felt like it's not as effective. If you didn't show that arcade scene, I felt like it would have been more effective. But then I guess they kind of have to show the arcade scene because Bill Hader had to get the token. But again, I felt like, if you kept it a mystery, I think it would be more interesting and just give hints later on. When Richie is sad that Eddie dies. And to be honest, before I just view it as best friends. They mourned other's death and all that stuff. But Richie felt like he had a bigger connection with Eddie. Even though they keep poking fun at each other, talking bad about their own moms and all that stuff, still, there's a huge bond between them. And yeah, that feels impactful. Okay, so James McAvoy I thought was really good, especially with the stuttering. I mean, and it's funny too because he already got over his stutter, but as soon as he heard that it came back, his stuttering came back too, and it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse to the point where he could barely talk more than 2 words at a time. And I thought he did a great job with that. And the thing is that even though in It Chapter 1, it seems like Bill is the main character, here, it feels a lot like an ensemble piece. He's not exactly the main character. The movie doesn't really focus on him a lot. Even though he is pretty much the leader of the loser club because everyone follows him no matter what. Still, I like that this movie treats each and everyone, except Stanley, like an equal. The only reason why I say except Stanley is because he, committed suicide and they don't show much of him later on. Actually, I felt like that's a big disappointment because they do show the dead body of Stanley, but it's not adult Stanley. It's young Stanley, which is why I'm kind of upset by that. I could be wrong. It might be adult Stanley, but that whole spider head scene, that looks like young Stanley's body. That's what it looked like to me. Speaking of which, John Carpenter The Thing reference, which I really, really love. Oh my god. The way it was shot, the way it was lit with the flashlight and stuff like that. And Richie saying, "You gotta be fucking kidding." Oh my god, I just fucking love it. Great reference, I love it. Even though it didn't have the two stalker eyes thing on the bottom of his neck and stuff like that, it didn't have that, but still, it was a fucking sight to see. I just love it. Thank you, It Chapter 2. I really want to see that. And yes, it's all CGI. It's not a practical effect, which is a shame. But to be honest, it's actually one of the best CGI creature designs in the entire movie, because the way it moves and stuff like that is incredibly creepy. And to be honest, it felt real for a lot of the scenes too. I guess it's because most of it took place in the dark and they only had the flashlight to shine on it. So it was that was a great scene and great reference. I love it. I'm trying to know if there's another reference too. I already talked about Ghostbusters. At least that's why I think about Ghostbusters. Did I actually talk about that with the Pomeranian and stuff like that? Because in Ghostbusters, when Gozer said he'll take on the true form or something like that, the people who try to vanquish him or her can choose the final form, and Bill Murray's like, okay, if we don't think of anything, then it'll be fine. But Ray chose the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. So it reminds me of that. I don't know what other movies this movie actually referenced, but let me know in the comments below. Probably I didn't notice. Oh my god, when Henry Bowers stabbed Eddie in the face, I did not expect that. I knew something bad was going to happen to Eddie because in the book, he gets his arm broken again, but he gets stabbed in the face, and oh my god, that was intense. But man, when Eddie made the comeback, when he stabbed Henry, I clapped in the audience. I was so happy. And then he made a joke about Henry's mullet. You should have cut that mullet. We are no longer in the 80s. And the Henry Bowers fight against Mike in the library, I did not think that Richie would be the one to kill him with the tomahawk in the head. I honestly thought it would be Ben, because Ben got sliced by Henry Bowers. So I thought he would get the final revenge, but no, it was Richie. Even though Richie did have a funny joke when Ben asked, are you okay? And he's like, no, I murdered a guy. And Ben was like, I was talking about him. He was talking to Mike. But yeah, man. Again, this movie was really entertaining. Oh, one last thing. I'm almost done anyway. I feel like this is a Full Metal Alchemist reference, at least to me. I'm not sure if this is just a coincidence or not. So when the Losers Club keeps chanting clown because they really believe that Pennywise is just a clown, and they are reverting him back to clown form, like a little tiny midget clown. And everyone is chanting, Pennywise is losing, he's no longer giant anymore, he's shrinking, shrinking, shrinking. And then he becomes like a tiny little flattened baby, like his head is flat too and all that stuff. And he had like 6 arms and stuff. That reminds me of Full Metal Alchemist with Envy. Because the way the arms look like, and his head, the way he talks too, and his crying and all that stuff, I was like, oh my god, that reminds me of Envy from Full Metal Alchemist. When Envy, after Envy's body is destroyed and he becomes this little green slug, and he is crying and all that stuff. He is jealous of everyone and stuff, and he can't believe that he lost. It really reminds me of that. And then when Mike tore its heart out, it kind of reminds me of Envy tearing out its own heart, which is the Philosopher's Stone, and breaks it and stuff like that. Then he disintegrates. Yeah, it really reminds me a lot of Full Metal Alchemist. I don't know if that's just a coincidence or they are inspired by that. I really want to know about that. All right, so that's pretty much it. It. Okay, so that's pretty much it of it. I did like the movie. I felt like it's a bit too long, but I heard there's going to be a director's cut of this, but the director's cut is going to include both chapter 1 and chapter 2 combined, so I'm wondering how it's going to be. Is it going to be similar to what Watchmen was when they had the director's cut of Watchmen, which includes the Tales of the Freighter? Or Tales of the Black Flag, I forgot what the comic was called, and they just merged everything into that one. Or they're going to edit it differently or something like that. I really want to know how the Blu-ray of this is going to be, because that's why I didn't buy the Blu-ray of It Chapter 1, even though I love it so much, because I knew It Chapter 2 is going to come out, and I'm wondering if they're going to do something different about it. Hopefully they do. That'll be super cool. And that's the thing too. In the movie theater, I feel like a horror movie that's like 3 hours long might be a little too much. But if you're watching it at home, it's fine, because you can always take a break anyway and watch it later. So that's the comfort of being home. But for a movie theater, I don't know. I really recommend it for Bill Hader alone. And that's pretty much it. I can't think of anything else to talk about. Yeah, that's pretty much it. If there's more, I will do a review on it, because I really want to do a review on the It miniseries and It Chapter 1 and It Chapter 2 when It Chapter 2 comes out on Blu-ray, so I could get the footage and stuff like that. Alright guys, write down in the comments below, what are your favorite parts about the It Chapter 2? What is your least favorite parts? Tell me if the whole Full Metal Alchemist thing was actually on point or something like that. I'm really curious about that part. Alright, thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you next time.